when it's sticking like that, you got to put a little more flour in it just to get it to pull away from the walls of the bowl. Not much, it's pretty close right now. So I don't, sometimes when I make bread, I don't do a lot of measuring per se. Sometimes it's just kind of just by eye because I've done it so much. So if you're first time bread making, you probably should do the measuring method until you get a feel for making rolls or making bread, if you will, I guess. So up to this point, what I have in there is the yeast. I bloomed that, which is taking the warm water, no more than 110 degrees Fahrenheit. You let it set a little bit, let it kind of foam a little bit, and while it's doing that, put your sugar in. This batch has probably about half a cup of sugar into it. You can also use honey, but the sugar is what feeds the yeast and makes it grow. Then I put my eggs in there and just kind of let that all stir together. And then I end up I put warm milk in there, and I put my butter in my milk to let it kind of get soft in the microwave. And again, that doesn't want to be more than 105, 110 degrees. So you always just stick your finger in the milk before you pour it in, just to make sure it's not too hot. I put the milk in there. Actually, I added some flour in there first, and then I put the milk in there, and I just started the mixing process. So now what I'm doing is I'm just watching it so that it'll pull away from the sides of the bowl. You can see right now it's kind of one big glob, and normally it'll start coming together and pulling away from the sides of the bowl. And I don't know, I guess at this stage I'm going to let it run for just a little bit. Because when you need the dough, it would probably want to have 6 to 8 minutes worth of kneading time. And what the kneading does, it makes the gluten in the flour become active, or I guess become elasticy. So it gives you I guess a good crumb when you what they call a crumb when the bread is made. So here we'll go let it kind of run for a little bit. And then once it becomes a dough ball and it's kneading, what I'll end up doing is let it knead for the kind of, when I think it looks good. And what you want is the outside of the dough to be kind of all one consistent finish, I guess, if you will, or the outside wants to be real nice and closed and all one consistent thing. Then you kind of roll it into a ball, and then you'll put it in a bowl. I usually put a little bit of olive oil in the bowl, coat the bowl, and then take the ball and set it in the bowl and kind of rotate it around. Then I'll cover it with a damp towel and let it raise for a couple hours or so. It's now about 5:30 in the morning, so I wanted to make sure I got up early enough to get the dough going and let it raise one time. I have to go to Joe's be there at 1 o'clock for dinner, so you can make this ahead of time the night before. See how the dough's kind of creeping up on the hook there? I'm going to take it down, let it kind of work its way down. I may end up, I better pull this down. It's real sticky right now, so it needs more flour. And so, yeah, it's too sticky. So what I'll do is I'm going to just do the old dump method. A little more flour in there. And so raise it up. And then when you start out, just do it real slow so you get flour all over the place. So now you see it's kind of pulling away from the sides of the bowl. That's what you're looking for it to do, and then to create kind of one big conglomerate of dough. When you're done mixing, your sides of the walls of the bowl should be clean, like kind of like this up here. Yeah, that's doing what it's supposed to now. Maybe just a touch more flour, but I'll let it run for a little bit and see what it's going to do.